This is TWiT.
I, like many of you, am a Plex user. Plex has been a sponsor on the network in the past. And Plex is a media streaming storage management solution. It does a lot. Plex is a really powerful service that lets you maintain a library of media, be it music, movies, TV shows, all sorts of stuff. And they've got different bits of the service that let you create like a personal server on your home network. Many people will use a network attached storage to store their movies and their whole library, and then stream it to their television, or use the Plex app on their phone, or visit Plex on the website and like in the browser, and be able to stream from their own library. I've been on a number of podcasts in the past where we're talking about a specific show. They're media related podcasts, and perhaps you don't have the movie in your own library. That's where Plex has come through, where someone can say, hey, I've got this movie. Here's what you need to be able to watch it. So Plex is very, very handy. And as I said, I know many of us have it. So you may have gotten an email, but if you didn't, check your email to hear about how Plex is telling you need to reset your passwords. Plex sent out an email to users saying, hey, look, we were looking through our databases and discovered some suspicious activity. And obviously this meant that after we discovered this activity, we needed to investigate, and came to realize that a third party, as they call it, was able to access, quote, a limited subset of data that includes emails, usernames, and encrypted passwords. Now, these passwords were hashed. These passwords, were protected in that way, but out of an abundance of caution, Plex is making everyone reset their passwords. This is a very sort of low-level threat for folks who use password managers. Like, if you asked me my Plex password right now, I couldn't tell you because I don't know it. My password manager knows it. And so that means that if somehow the bad actor who got into Plex was somehow able to beat the encryption of the passwords, which is very highly unlikely, and therefore get those passwords, it wouldn't mean anything, because the only thing they would have access to is the thing they already had access to, which is Plex's account. So absolutely make sure that you're using a password manager, and absolutely make sure that you're using two-factor authentication, because those two things together make for a very secure account that, despite a bad actor getting into Plex, they don't have access to everything else. That's often the question of like, why? Why do I need to use a password manager? Why do I need to have different passwords for everything? I make my passwords just a little bit different for everything, so that should be fine, right? Oftentimes what I've found when people say that is, at some point, someone came along to them and said, you shouldn't be using the same password for everything. You need to change your password. And the person goes, okay. And so they start to make a slightly different password for all the new accounts that they create. But that password they'd been using the whole time is still on the accounts they already have. And oftentimes the accounts they already have are their most important accounts. These are the accounts that matter the most. And so despite doing that little bit of a change up, they're still using an insecure password, because you are only as protected as the weakest account in your library of accounts that you access. So while your bank may have protections and your email may have protections, if you went to radishseeds.com and created an account there and used the same password that you do with your bank account and your, your Gmail account, then when the hacker comes along to radishseeds.com, don't go there, I don't know what's there, and sees that those passwords aren't hashed, aren't protected, aren't encrypted, And all they have to do is pull from the WordPress document that's stored online on radishseeds.com and get the, hundreds of passwords and accounts. Then they can take that password from that place and that email from that place and put them together and go to your very strongly protected Gmail or your very strongly protected bank, type it in, and they're just able to get inside. That is why we say use a password manager and use two-factor authentication. Because then if radishseeds.com gets hacked, they've only got access to that one site where I created a password that's QRP297134:; and they don't have access to anything else. So when I got this email, I wasn't too worried about it because they, again, just got my username, which I do use across different sites, and my email, which I do use across different sites. But I've slowly also started to break out of that habit as well. That's how you level up, is when you start to include pseudo-random emails as part of your logins, or pseudo-random usernames as part of your logins, and just let your password manager handle all of it. The password manager that I use, 1Password, actually has an integration with Fastmail, which is the email program that I use, that when I create a new login, will automatically generate a new email via Fastmail, pseudo-random, that's tied to that, to my email. And so it just forwards it along to my actual email address. So then the username is unique, the password is unique, and I know that if they get access to that, they're not getting access to everything else, because you may have in the past gotten emails, I certainly have, where they've emailed me at my my iCloud account, for example, because they got it in some password breach at some point. And maybe they even were able to go as far as to get my actual password that I used to use for different sites, Monkey123. And they sent me an email that said, hey, we know your password, Monkey123, and they put it in bold. And then they said, we used it to log into your account and found a bunch of, let's say, inappropriate content was the claim. And we will share this with the world, basically, unless you send us Bitcoin. And I will be honest that seeing that password in there, even though the whole like outer part of my mind and my body and everything were going from the get-go, knew that this was just a spam email, that it was a phishing attempt, still seeing that password did make my heart go boom, boom a little bit. Wait, they got my password. So I can't imagine the number of folks who don't have as much knowledge about this particular topic as I do, looking at that and going, holy moly. And then they know that a subset of those people will also somewhere on some service or some system have some inappropriate content. And so then they will be moved to action. They try to get you with that fear. So while these things on the face of them may seem not innocuous, obviously in any case it's bad, but while it may seem like it's not such a big deal, it actually is quite a big deal. And we should do what we can to protect ourselves. So if you, like I, got this Plex email, hey, even if you didn't get this Plex email, if you have a Plex account, go to Plex. I just went to plex.com. I logged in with my Plex account, and then I went in and went to the change your password area and did that, changed my password. And what's cool is Plex has a great little checkbox you can check that says log out of all logged in accounts. So you can do both at the same time. Kick it to the curb. Anything that may have access somehow. Again, that's highly unlikely through this breach, but it's just well worth doing. And now I've got a new Plex password, which is kind of fun. I don't know. It kind of feels like if I was a snake and I had it was time to shed my skin and start with a fresh outer coating. That's what it feels like every time I change a password. It's like, we are removing the past, we're sloughing away the dead, and we're starting anew. it's nice to create a new password from time to time. So yeah, head there, get that password change, make it happen.